welcome back to another episode of Excellence in Everything Live, where we talk about all things building confidence for our children, building their competence, and ultimately helping them have a competitive edge in wherever their heart desires in terms of their career path. And I'm excited today is special because we got a special guest. I know you saw this week's topic. We're inviting up someone that I actually met. I met Ryan, who's our guest today. I met him on the Next Door app, actually. I was promoting an event that I was hosting when I was hosting the Black Teen Summit, and he was actually seeking community input about his local franchise, how people were receiving it, and did they have any feedback, and they had a lot to say, and I love that he was responsive. And so it's actually a local, they call it like a brick oven. I think that's the terminology. A brick oven pizza shop. It's the only one of its kind in Prince George's County. It may even be Maryland because when I looked, I didn't see another one. They actually sell one of my favorite pizzas, which is cauliflower pizza. But I went there. I'm saying all this to say I'm a stickler for customer service, and I can when I'm experiencing something of excellence, it's very conscious of me. Like I'm very cognizant about that. So when I see something and I experience it, I'm going to always give feedback. And so when Ryan hopped in Next Door app and said, check out Burn Box, let me know if you have any feedback, I quickly responded like, yeah, I had an exceptional time when I went into the store and I used the app several times. And so I just I'm going to reach out and see if Ryan would be willing to come on Excellence and Everything Live. And he responded. And so today he's our special guest. Right after today's intro, I'm gonna bring him up so he can talk a little bit about his story and we can hear more about his journey and all the awesome things that he's doing right after the intro. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. You are capable of excellence. You have an inner power of excellence. You will achieve excellence in everything, every time. So I'm Linnita Hosten. I coach high school students to create a post-high school plan so that they can ultimately go after their dream careers and make you proud. I do that by way of the Excellence Academy, 16-week program. Y'all know this drill. If you're watching live, go ahead and type in the chat, I am here. Let us know that you're watching live. If you happen to catch the replay, you can also acknowledge that by just typing in hashtag replay and let me know that you're here. I hope that you brought some questions for Ryan today because I got some questions for him too. Before I jump into that, I did want to say that, hey Tab, Tab says she's excited for this. Me too, because people who own franchises, I have a special heart for them. I want to know how you do it. How does that work? How much capital did it take? We ain't gonna talk about that unless Ryan decides to. But I'm very those kinds of persons are very fascinating to me because it's not a traditional in the common world, it's not a traditional business model. But it is one that I've been learning a lot about. So I agree, Tap. I'm excited too. But before we jump into Ryan, we bring him up. I wanted to acknowledge that this week we have a sponsor, and that is the Bean Brothers. The Bean Brothers. The Bean Brothers are a black-owned coffee shop in Michigan, and they sent over a nice little package of coffee that I'm going to be sharing a video next week. And I love that their product is made in house, very strong, and we definitely will be talking more about them in the coming weeks for the month of May. And then if you haven't seen the news, I am hosting a Grow and Grind challenge for both the village. If you work with teens in any capacity, you're an auntie, grandma, godchild, godparent, if you are a parent, if you're a coach, a mentor, a tutor, I am calling the entire village to the table for 4 days starting May 1st. We're going to talk about building the mind. We're going to talk about establishing boundaries, communicating through difficult conflict. And we're also going to talk about what's the fourth pillar? It's 4 growth zones that we're going to submerge into for 4 days, 30 minutes nightly. And it'll be virtual. You have to register to join the challenge at Linnita Hosten /grow. and it is free. Give me the opportunity to share some of the tools I've been learning so that your power source, your classroom, your home can further develop and grow alongside your team. Those are my announcements for today, but without further ado, I gotta bring up Ryan because I'm excited to hear his journey. I know that you are too. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Listen, sorry, my background can't be as cool as yours, so I'm actually in the car, so bear with me. So I just wanted to make sure that I jumped on. It's a pleasure. I appreciate you actually having me on the show. It's funny, like how you introduced and said how we met, and I appreciate the feedback. And I'm ready to go. What you got? Let's go.
Let's
Get to it.
go. Let's jump right into it. Okay, tell the people who you are, because for those, I met you on Nextdoor, but for those who do not know you, just go ahead and give them the spiel. Who is Ryan?
Okay. I am Ryan Whitfield, a serial entrepreneur. On six franchises of Smoothie King, and in the 2022 will be the owner of Three Burn Boxes, which is a startup franchise that me and another guy named by the name of Shondell Pullum created with the purpose of being a community beacon and reaching out and trying to empower the community. Also, an author of two books, father of one, and just a community advocate of the Washington D.C. Prince George's County area.
I love that. I love that. I didn't know the Burn Box was a startup franchise.
Yes, that is not a
Wow.
franchise of any other company. It's something that we started on our own.
Wow. That
So
explains why
all
I
of the
couldn't
design,
find it when I looked.
yeah. So listen, yeah, all of the design and everything. Me and my partner did that. Like that came from me
Wow.
going to Bowie State and understanding graphics and layout, and me and him literally just
Wow.
yeah, we took the framework that we saw with Smoothie King, and we just kind of broke it down to see like how, like if you're gonna open 1,000 of these, how
Mm-hmm.
can you make it so that way if someone else wants to buy into it, that they have the same
Right.
one and what it looks like. So I think we did a good job, right? You
You
saw it. I
did an
think it was,
exceptional
yeah.
job. Even the
I
layout of
appreciate
the
that.
store and the branding of the
Yeah.
box and the
Yes.
app. There's an app, by the way.
Yes.
You ain't even got to call
Yes.
and say, I want to place an order.
Right.
There's a whole
No,
app.
that is true. Yep.
So,
Trying
and
to push the
delivery is
forward.
in the app. Like,
It's in the app.
yes. So,
It's in the
absolutely,
app.
well done, well done. Okay, so let's go all the way back because Ryan is a Prince
Okay,
George's
take me
County
back.
native. He did attend not Oxon Hill High
Crossland High
School,
School.
Crossland High
Crossland.
School,
Yep.
and he did attend Bowie State University. So he is no stranger to Prince George's County, Maryland. But in your own like words, describe your teenage self. Like, what was Ryan like as a teen?
You know what? I started my journey of being an entrepreneur very early. Um, I started I started early. I was working. I got a job in Largo at the dollar. No, it was F and no, it was the dollar store. And this, no, matter of fact, it goes before that. And this wasn't a legit legal job, but I honestly started working at Safeway
Okay.
in Penn Station off of Marlboro Pike. I literally was carrying bags outside at 11, 12, and 13 and 14. And I'm saying I was religiously doing that. And I took that so serious. I don't care if it was cold, it was raining. I literally was out there with a purpose of just trying to make my $20 a day, and $20 went a long way back then. And that just propelled me to just keep going. And I ended up, I played basketball, so I was big in sports. So I had a passion for that, and that led me to working at and going after a job at the dollar store, which was in the Lago Town Center. And after that, I ended up getting a job at I think it's called F&M. And I've always just been a worker, whether I had one job, two job. I've always just been ambitious.
Mm,
And then I got into graphic design, and I would sell T-shirts. I remember Gallo $1, 5 and 10. I remember I had a friend of mine who I met at the barbershop that I was going through, and he introduced me to them. And at the age of maybe, I want to say 16, 17, I literally sold 10 designs for $1,000 to them. and that kind of just gave me the confidence to just keep going. And
Yeah.
that's where I just kept going with that creativeness of just saying, all right, I know that I like clothing, and
Mm.
it just kept going from there.
How did you have the confidence to sell something at that's a lot of money even then. It's a lot of money
Yeah, it
now, but
was.
it's a lot of money then at that age. So how did you have the confidence to do that? Or where did that
Well,
confidence come from?
I think that confidence came from a void that I had in my life. Growing up with just my mom and my sister, I was put in a role of being the male of the house, and I had to be there for my mom, and I had to be a role model for my younger sister. So uh, I really didn't have anything to lose. And I
Mm,
think if I was to say to myself back then, or to someone that's coming up now, um, you don't
mm,
have anything to lose, right? So I made a lot of mistakes back then, but the mistakes were lessons learned, and you only learn if you make mistakes.
mm-hmm.
So I made tons of mistakes,
Yeah.
and the mistakes just after a while it starts off, you make 10 mistakes, and then you make 9 mistakes, and you get one thing right, and then once you get one thing right, you get two things right, and you start developing a rhythm of just you know taking the mess ups and looking at them and saying, okay, well, this is how you fix it. And I just kept going with that, and it just kept on. Just I'm very competitive, so I think that's one of the things about me. I mean, I think basketball helped me with that. Like, I just want to always win.
Mm.
So I think that's what led to the confidence. Just that competitive with sports, like it brings it out of you. So I think that's what I would say that led me to being confident. My confidence.
I always tell people our kids will start to display innate natural skills and abilities that have not been developed. There was nothing that you did for them to warrant those things. They naturally have a toolbox.
Absolutely.
And so I asked that question because I'm always looking to see in hindsight what was in your toolbox very early. From what you said, I hear a natural leader, I hear a
Yep.
problem solver, I hear someone who
Correct.
was like courageous, like
Yep.
naturally. And then just by the makeup of your environment, it was also like it became like a part of your identity. Like I'm gonna find a
Yes.
way to make it
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to. You have to.
good stuff. What do you say are like the top three skills every business owner must develop?
I would say one is communication. Two is hard work, and when I say hard work, execution, getting things done. And I would say the third one is um, customer service, serving people. Like I love to just make other people happy, and serve other people. Like, whether I'm in Smoothie King, whether I'm in Burn Box, no matter what business I do, it's literally about serving and trying to help
Mm,
someone else with something that I know. I
yeah,
always want to be able to teach or share what I know with someone else. So I think those are three important things that make a great entrepreneur, make a great business.
yeah. I heard you say communication skills, work ethic, and
Communication is big.
definitely
Yes.
servanthood, having a servant's heart. I felt that from your team when I was in there. Actually, I did feel
I,
that.
I'm, I'm, gl- I'm, gl- listen, I'm glad, because listen, it is not easy. It's not like like when you grow up, it's a difference, right? When I grew up, it was riding bikes, go outside. Your mom would tell you go outside and come back in when it's late. So I spent a lot of time riding my bike, exploring. I spent a lot of time, in the woods, at the basketball court. You just spend a lot of time just like developing. You know what I mean? Just being outside, just kind of developing and growing up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now a lot of stuff is so on your phone that you don't actually develop those social skills that I was forced to have to do to survive, to be outside all day. I don't think people understand, like, to be outside from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night, that's a skill set. You got to figure out some stuff to do, right? I had to ride my bike, try to come in and get some water, get something to eat, and then I was told, get back out of here and don't come back in here until to later on. So then I had to make sure that I had another group of friends that I could hang with, and I had to make sure that I didn't get in any trouble. But you know, I still was kid and mischievous and did things. So you would it was just a time of development. Whereas now, people are just so in the moment on their phone. Like,
Mhm.
I'm like that sometimes, on my phone, but I still like to engage and interact and do, those social interactions that, I just spoke of.
Absolutely. Technology definitely has enabled our linguistics ability, and our ability to just be relational. And
Yes,
while it has helped some of us who aren't able to verbally communicate, we can type. It's been an
correct.
aid to that group, but
Twitter,
it's
yeah,
also been
Twitter,
like a crutch to those who maybe wanted to develop in other areas. So that's a great point. That's a great point. I want to know, like, because you seem like a person full of wisdom, and I know you have your own podcast, and then
right?
you've written a book about intimacy. You started
Correct.
your own franchise, which is amazing, and then you own several franchises. I know that the journey hasn't been easy. What kinds
Absolutely
of
not.
what what's been your like most memorable piece of advice that you received along the way?
Hmm. My most memorable piece of advice was, um, I think it was to just keep going.
Mm,
And that's the thing that like sets everything apart, because I've had crazy failures, right? I'll tell you a tell this quick story. I life in itself will definitely challenge you and take you to great places and take you down to the bottom. And if you decide to get back up and keep going, that's when you'll be able to benefit from that experience, right? So I get a job working for 50 Cent. I'm his design director. Mind you, listen, I went to school for computer science, right? So the only design skills were self taught. Now, I took a few graphics courses back in school and I learned how to design clothes on my own. So I
mm,
get this job making six figures and I'm running a team. I got a team of 10 people. I lose my job and I actually got evicted
mm,
after I lost my job. And I had to come back to DC. And when I came back to DC, I had a decision to make, right? Was I going to, soak and be, depressed and, allow the circumstances that happen in, New Jersey, New York with that experience of working for 50 Cent and traveling and going to China and just doing all these great, amazing things and being around, him and his team. That was an amazing experience. And then it was taken away. So
mm,
I had to make a decision. And I got back up and I kept going. And I ended up working with a family member of mine, and I helped develop this business with him. And then that took me from there to doing a franchise. So the biggest advice I would say to anybody is keep going. Like, it may seem at that moment like it's rough. You got to keep going. It's always temporary. You got to keep going.
yeah, love that. Thank you for sharing that story. Definitely a valley moment, it sounds like. And those are parts.
Absolutely. Listen, I still have that eviction notice to this day. I don't play. Like, that's a reminder, like, where you come from. And
Mm,
that's a humbleness to say, hey, listen. And one of the things that I say in the book, called Now Open, is that everything that I have now it wasn't me. Only thing that I'm doing is just managing God's blessings. So it's not mine. I'm just managing the blessings while I'm here. And that right there just kind of humbles you, because no matter where I go at, this is me. No matter what restaurant you see me at, no matter where you catch me at, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna just have that same reminder that
mm,
this is not, you didn't do this. And as long as you understand that, then you can keep on growing and receiving, and you'll be blessed with more, because he understands that you know how to receive it and you know how to handle it and you know that it's not you.
mm, Thank you for stewarding the blessings that God's given you very well. I wanted to say thank you for that.
No
Um,
problem.
Tell me a little bit about your village. I'm really big on coaching the students that I work with to have a presidential cabinet. Those are people that we go
I
to,
do.
we confide in.
Yes.
Who's in that village for you?
Okay, so my village consists of course, my mom. It was my grandfather. I lost him last year. But my circle is my partner, which is my brother, Sean. Uh, and a guy that went to college with me, which was my roommate. Another guy that went to high school with me. So I got about five people that surround me, and men, and we just hold each other accountable.
Mm,
And no matter, and the one thing about that I love about my circle is that I always know I got a place to stay, and they'll never look at me any different. So I could go to them any time of night, any time of the day. If I call them, if I need a place to stay to lay my head, it's family when I go there. So that's what keeps me, in the spirit and space that I'm in, just to just be humble. Like, and I never try to take relationships for granted because I know sometimes, and I always try to remind anybody that I have the pleasure of working with, that works up under one of the companies that we have. Listen, don't be temperamental and just quit and just get emotional and just leave. Understand that relationships matter and you never know who you'll be, when you'll need someone again. And if
mm,
you burn your bridges, sometimes you can block your blessings by doing that. And I did that myself. So I just try to, school people and just kind of get them that insight and just let them know that, don't burn those bridges. Just try to stay, just try to keep your relationships good.
yep, I agree. I definitely agree for sure. What advice would you give teens who have a really big dream and no idea where to start?
I read a book, and this book was called How to Eat an Elephant. That's one book. And the reason why I want to choose that book is because when you think of an elephant, right? It's a huge animal, and your dream should match that and be huge. And one of the things that we say in the book is that if you can see it and hold that idea and that vision in your head, then that means that you can achieve it. And you just got to understand that everything you go through, there are two steps that you probably need to do to get there to achieve it. And if you just focus on that, like you'll be amazed at how far you'll get. So that's what I would tell, anybody that's coming, like hold that vision, hold that dream, and just break down and look at things from the perspective of what's the goal and what two things do I need to do to hit that goal.
Mm. Piece by piece, brick by brick.
Piece by piece, brick by brick.
Yes, we
Nothing's overnight.
definitely nothing. And you know,
Nothing's insta anything. It's no insta.
there
It's
isn't.
brick by brick. There.
Have you heard the phrase it takes 10 years to be an overnight success? Have you heard that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so if you really think about it, I was in college and I had a retail store, right? And I had a warehouse. It was 10 years later that I'm actually having the six stores and now the three stores with the burn box. So the 10 years had passed. So I had to live 10 years, go through some things, learn some things, go up, come down, lose it all, get it back, and
Mm.
to get back on a journey to say, all right, now you can go up again. Now
Yeah.
you understand how it works. So prepare yourself for the left, the right, the up, the down. Like, just be prepared. Stuff is going to happen. Just
Yep.
keep going.
It's not what you described is a non-linear process. It is not a
Non-linear
straight
process.
direct path.
It is
What
not.
makes
It is
people
not.
feel secure about studying or pursuing things that are in demand is that it's linear. A person
Mm-hmm.
can vividly conceptualize if I do this, I can achieve that and I will have this. The non-linear things are scary to parents. They're scary to
Yep.
anybody who's like overseeing in the life of a young
Yep.
person. But it doesn't mean it's
That is true.
impossible. That's why I bring
Nope.
people
That's true.
like you on to Behind the Genius, because we're responsible for exposing the eyes, the hands, and the hearts of our kids to people like you, Ryan, who have done a non
Okay.
traditional thing and have seen the fruit of their labor.
Let me tell you,
So,
my mother was not an advocate of this choice. I mean, I'm dead serious. Like when I was in high, when I was in college, my mom was literally like, "Hey, you need to go get a government job," and I wasn't mad at her for that because when I was in college, graduating from in IT back then, I was ahead of the curve. So I had job offers from Lockheed Martin, GE. I turned them down, and my mom was pissed. She was upset. She was like, "You need to get a job," and I was like, "Mom, listen, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to have my own business." And she said, "You need to get a job," and I just made sure that I said, "Give me some grace," and I just continued to just fight and just go after what I wanted. And I just made sure that I put that couple of $100 every other week on my mother's dresser to make sure she understood that I wasn't out here just BSing and
mm,
that what I was trying to do was real. And as long as you doing something for your parent to show them that you are progressing, and whether that's showing them that you're saving and helping her or helping your family contribute, they'll support you. But if you out here just fooling off and not being productive, that's when it's going to be an issue. Got to
mm.
be productive.
I want to ask you about what language could mom have used to help empower you more in that time when we come back from this promo. Again,
Okay.
you all know that The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens is my latest new workbook, and I am waiving my speaker's fee for the entire year of 2022. And if you are interested in having me come in and speak, I want you to check out the speaker promo. We're going to come back in so Ryan can talk about mama in just a second.
When I came out, I said, I am excellence. My mind is of excellence. My visions are of excellence. That's not because I'm boastful. I am programming my subconscious mind. If you did not come from that, if you did not hear words like, you're capable, I'm proud of you can do it, I'm rooting for you, if you did not hear those words, it is likely what lives in your subconscious mind has to be reprogrammed. The things you see and say repeatedly will manifest. The things you say and see repeatedly will manifest. You can consciously be traveling to class, joining groups, and subconsciously underdeveloped in your confidence, your speaking abilities, your leadership skills. I challenge you, matter of fact, I dare you not to operate from a state of inactive consciousness. I dare you to be intentional about how you're operating this semester consciously.
Wow. Listen, I'm blown away by everything. Like seriously, like you doing something big here. Like I'm serious. Like I had no idea. Like I'm sitting here like wow. Like she really got this show put together. Good, great job. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm honored to be on here. Like seriously. Like you are doing a good job. Seriously.
I appreciate that, Ryan. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm just hearing about your story.
Yeah.
I want to get to this anything about mom. I got one question about mama, and we're gonna wrap up in a second. What are
Okay.
some things that, if you could rewind time, what are some things that you would have been helpful to hear your mom say during the time where you wanted to pursue something non-traditional?
I wish my mom would have told me that I could do it. I wish that she would have said, "I believe in you, and I may not understand where you're going at, and I may not see what you're trying to do, but as long as you're gonna go hard and you're gonna give it your all, I think I know you can do it. I believe in you, and go for it." I would have loved to hear that. I didn't hear that, but I still wasn't mad at my mom because I realized that my mom came from a generation that was taught to go to school, get a good job, and get out here and work a 9 to 5. And I understand and I respected that. I had a good life. uh, you know, as far as quality of life. It wasn't necessary that I had all the labels and the latest thing, but I never went without a meal. I always had a roof over my head, and my mom did acts of service to show me that she loved me. So I never questioned whether she loved me or not. I just think that what the tools that she had, and that's what was done to her, we repeat. So with my child, I'm there to support him and give him the love and the verbal support that he needs in order to know that he can be and do anything that he wants.
Yep. Yep. I love it. I'm a big advocate of words. It's something that doesn't cost us anything. It does take a level of like discipline and like restraint. It
True.
does. But it's the most critical thing that we can offer our kids is to speak to them in love, even when we're frustrated. And the best way that we do that is when we're frustrated to reserve that energy until we can
Absolutely.
actually speak like clearly without.
Hmm.
So I love that you said that. Awesome. Okay. I got some sound off questions for you.
Let's go.
So we can make it a little light. What does Ryan do for fun?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So, I'm big on hiking. I hike. I like to go biking, play tennis, uh, basketball. I love to travel. Uh, I love to read. I love to play video games sometimes. Not a lot, but other than that, I like solving problems and being creative. So, I like going to museums. I love just spending time with my son. Like I literally, since he's been born, every week we're going somewhere,
Mm,
whether it be the zoo, the museums, out of new places. I'm just trying to just open and expose him to as much as possible.
nice.
So that's
And
what I'm doing in my spare
how old is
time.
your son?
He's 5,
He's 5. Ooh,
going
he
on
get.
45.
I see why he getting a lot of exposure early. I
Yeah, I
love it.
have to. I have to. Yeah.
I love that. Who
What else you got?
inspires Ryan? Who inspires Ryan?
I would say, I would say my mom. My mom, she inspires me because she may not have had the tools to give me when I needed them, but she always was there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of her, so here's what I realized. When when a woman has a child and the father's not there, she has a choice to make. And the choice is she going to stay loving and nurturing, or is she going to be disciplined, or is she going to be a hybrid? And my mom was a hybrid, right? But she was more of a disciplined hybrid. So my mom was very adamant about making sure that I did the things that I needed to do. She might not have been the most nurturing, but she did the things for me, and as a result of that, it pushed me to be a better person. Now, like I said, you asked me the things that I might have wanted from my mom, but I had to work with tools and where she was at that time. But it pushed me to make me a better person. I remember uh, going to I remember I worked at Safeway in Bowie, and I remember I used to work in the produce department, and I would get off sometime. The store closed at 11. Sometimes I would get off at midnight, right? And my mom literally, I would call her and say, "Mom, I need a ride home from work." And my mom lived by the Redskins Stadium uh, right now. And she would say, "Hey, listen, I got to get up and go to work at 6. You got to figure it out." And it was that harshness that made me who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something was to happen right now, meaning like I lost my keys the other day in the park, it ended up making me walk 20 miles because I'm walking in the loop 4 times to try to find my keys, and 20 miles came out of it. And guess what? I wasn't even mad.
Mm-hmm.
No upset, not at all. I just called the car company, come, you know, unlock my car, and I just enjoyed the 20 miles of just thinking, but it helped me see that when you focused on something so much, and I was so focused on finding the keys, that it took me 20 miles, and I was like, oh, that's a life lesson. If you focus on what it is that you're really looking for, you're gonna learn, you're gonna see how far you get. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to go back and say, let me take a life lesson out of this. I
Mm-hmm.
walked 20 miles, I wasn't paying attention, but I was looking for my keys.
Mm. I agree with you about the relationship that you had with your mom and how it might not
Hmm.
have been nurturing, but it was the best kind of love that they could offer, and the best kind of love that made you who you were, who you are. It's
Absolutely.
very similar. I agree. I definitely agree. I'd say the same thing. My mom also inspires me. She's one my shero.
That's
Who
good.
was your favorite teacher, and why were they your favorite?
My favorite teacher was Zach Kondo, and that was my college teacher in college. And he taught African American history before 1863 or 62, and African American history after. And what he did was he kind of just woke me up to, how I eat, and the foods, and what I consume, and what happened before slavery and what happened after. He just woke me up and just gave me a different perspective in life, and how to look at things from a bigger perspective. And that was a great uh, life lesson that he taught me when I took his classes. That was a great thing.
Mm, awesome. Last one. If you could do
Okay.
anything in life over, what would you do over?
I probably wouldn't do anything over. I probably would do everything the way I'm doing it now. And the reason why I say that is because no matter what choice that you make in life, um, you know what? It is one thing that I would say that I would change. I wish that I would have chosen to have my child and be married, so I can wake up to my son every day. Co-parenting is it sucks, but I make the best out of it. But that's the only one thing that if I went back to do it again, there's that I would want to wake up to my son every day.
Hmm. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing some intimate parts of your life and your journey and your
That's what it's
story.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Is there anything
absolutely.
else that you want to share before we let you go?
Listen, I'm an open book, so whatever's I'm open. It's always refreshing to kind of share your story, and
Hmm.
I wish anybody that watches the broadcast, make sure you guys come out to Smoothie King, and come out to Burn Box, and just enjoy some good smoothies or some good pizza. And all of the books and projects that I'm working are on Amazon, or can be found at intimacyandcover.com, or you can find Now Open on Amazon. And um, I wish everybody, many blessings and peace. Like, I really do. I wish uh, anyone, whatever you're trying to do, just keep going.
Keep going. I think that was the
Keep
theme of
going.
today. Keep going. Be
Yeah, keep
appreciative
going.
of what you have, and always have
Yep,
a heart of servanthood. A heart of
yep.
servanthood.
Be a
Those are
servant.
the key
That is
things
true.
that I got from you today. Ryan, I promise I would
That is
not
true.
keep you more than 30 minutes. I have broken my
No,
promise.
listen. That's fine. And listen, hopefully one day, if you need me, I'll return to the show for another segment if you need me to speak.
I think we should come to either Smoothie King or Burn Box and just catch you in your element. That would be dope. We can bring the
Hey,
people
listen,
there.
li- listen. Let me know. I'm serious. When you want to do it, let me
Okay.
know when you want to do it. And if you want to bring some kids or anything, or however you want to set something up, I'm always open. Whatever I could do to bless what you're doing, let me know.
Will do. Let the people know where they can find you if they want to learn more about your books and your work.
So the book that tells the story of how me and my partner went from the journey from high school to building a multi-million-dollar franchise business with Smoothie King. You can find that on Amazon. And if you want to venture into learning how to connect with someone and you want to build deep connections with someone, and this is more of an adult thing, maybe 18 and up, go to intimacyuncovered.com. And I'm on social media at Ryan Whitfield, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM or reach out. And I guess that's it. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. I hope to one day meet you. One day maybe I can catch you in one of the
Listen,
stores or something.
listen. You've contacted me thus far, and I'm all
You have.
I make myself available. I make myself available as needed, and if you need to meet me in person, no problem. I mean,
Awesome.
listen, I love what you're doing. Like what
Thank
you're
you.
doing is amazing. Like, yeah, I'm definitely. I could definitely say like just seeing your structure and how you got the show laid out, and I'm really impressed. Like, it's you've done a good job, especially seeing that you've been speaking and you out here like doing the service and trying to push like it's a definite you can feel the synergy and the energy when
Mm,
you see someone else doing something similar that you're doing. So that's why it was not even a hesitation when you said, can you jump on the show? It was like, yeah, of course. So anytime if you need me to jump on again, you want to meet up, burn box, do the show, just let me know.
okay, will do. Thank you so much, Ryan.
No problem. Well, listen, blessings to you, and thanks everybody, and peace.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness, such a blessing to have Ryan come on in and just spend some time with us sharing about his journey and his story. Ezekiel, I saw that you made this comment and I wanted to acknowledge it. You said I came to your university a while back. You just became a head of music director at your local radio station. Shout out to you, Ezekiel. Thank you for helping to motivate me to work on my career even while in school. You better go ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Ezekiel, I love it. If you're still watching live, congratulations on your new role. The work does not stop, and continue to be awesome and be courageous in those goals. Ezekiel says, I'm excited to be a competitive. He using the language and everything. I love it. A competitive job applicant as soon as I graduate. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I sometimes don't get to hear back from students when I travel to speak around the country. So, Ezekiel, what school? Oh, you're still watching. He says, "Thank you." What school are you do you attend so I can jog my memory as to where I met you? But while I wait for that, thank you for tuning in and listening to Ryan's story. Super inspired by his journey of being a serial entrepreneur, and y'all know when he shared the story about um his mom's response to his journey, it was just music to my ears, only because I say these things often, but I need you all to like hear it from other people and their journey because it's real. But he just affirmed that our because the generation mindset is shifting and it's changing, it's an untraditional thing, it's a scary thing. And but he even acknowledged that even though it was untraditional, the relationship that him that the kind of support that he received from mom, it was still valuable and it was still needed, and she was still his inspiration. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I certainly love that. Okay, Ezekiel, Washington State University. Yay! Yep, one of the best campuses I visited actually. It was a pleasure to travel to that side of the country. So, listen, I'm not going to hold you long. I do want to remind you again the Grow and Grind Challenge starts this Sunday. These are the four zones we're going to talk about. The definition of grow is to get better, the definition of grind is to work. So, you get better through the work. So, for 4 days, I am calling everybody to the table. It doesn't matter what role you play. If you are auntie, godmother, parent, what role? Somebody's calling me. I want you here. Here are the four areas that we are going to discuss. Using time efficiently, how to like manage the time that you have, programming your power source, which is your mind, by the way, if you didn't know that. Establishing your own like boundaries, and those are perfect for high achievers, people who have like large social networks or lots of family obligations. Sometimes the establishment of those boundaries either prohibit or they encourage us to flourish. And then finally, like managing that difficult conversation piece. These are the 4 growth zones we're going to talk about starting May 1st nightly. Families will meet me virtually. Once you register, you'll receive the link to join us. If you register, you will receive the replay. I am doing this because while my work generally is with teens, organizations, and parents hire me to work specifically with their teens, that I'm learning that is not enough, because I send the teen back to home, back to the classroom. So it's almost like I'm responsible for the village at this point, like just by the default nature of my heart wanting to really do the best that I can. And so instead of just saying, hey, send me your teen, I'm saying, hey, send me your family. Come on, let's just, you ain't gotta come, you ain't even gotta talk back. You can even listen in, cook dinner. It don't even matter how you plan to absorb the content. I just want you to come so that you can grow and then grind for the remainder of the year. So that's it. I'm excited about the Grow and Grind Challenge. I am. And Ezekiel, I see you said this was really great. Do you have resources for creating a good resume? I don't, but I might make that next week's topic. Thank you. I think, because I don't have a topic for next week, so maybe that'll be something I do. So I usually create the topic slide on Sunday. So I want you to take a peek and see. I'm definitely going to do it, though. I'm definitely going to do it because you've given me the idea and I like suggestions. Thank you, Ezekiel, for joining. And it's a pleasure to hear about all that you're doing. And I'm proud of you. Keep going the extra mile. Keep going the extra mile. It will not go unnoticed. And for those of you who are watching live, thank you for hanging on in there. We're a little bit over the timeline that I would have liked, but I think tonight's episode was well worth it. I will see you next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I love you. Nothing you could do about it. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. Excellence in everything, every time.